Hello, I'm James Edward Evans, and I'm here to talk about cannabis and its relationship on this planet as sacrament. And this is a complex issue because it involves many scientific studies and many different things about the human condition that a lot of people don't think about on a regular basis. So, we've got a lot of things to talk about here. We're going to start with one of the basics, and that is that we are really on the slim end of the limb as far as perceiving reality. Uh, Let me explain that to you. The human eye can only see 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. That means we can't see 99.9965% of what's really here. And yet we say, I'll believe it when I see it. All right, well, perhaps that's a shaky place to build a foundation that we're going to believe it when we see it. What we see, we also don't understand. And let me explain that. And I'm going to do it with this eyeglass case that I have here. I usually do it with a table or a door. But I'm going to start with one basic question, okay? Ready? You got this? Do you see the eyeglass case? Alright? Now, if you answered yes, you're wrong. Okay, let me explain that to you. How do you see something? It's when something goes in your eye, right? Well, can you put the eyeball case in your eye? Not a good idea. No. What goes in your eye? Light. You don't see the eyeglass case. You see light bouncing off the eyeglass case into your eye. Now, let me explain to you how that simple definition of your reality that you had wrong is compounded in your brain. All right? When you see something, energy goes up to your brain through your eyes, okay? You have five senses. That's five ways of taking energy in. Your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ears, and your skin. That's your sense of touch, okay? When you do that, a little piece of energy goes up to your brain and is trapped in two synapses. And you put a definition on that. And that definition joins with millions of other definitions that you have in your brain, and you form a definition for your reality that way. For example, you say, oh, this is an eyeglass case. You may have looked at it and said, oh, what is that thing? Oh, let's open it up. Oh, look, it's an eyeglass case. Okay. Now, these different definitions have been put in you since you were born. And you've been told things like mommy, daddy. Okay, and that is what you had locked in your brain in a couple of synapses. And light bounced off your mother into your eyes. You trapped it, and then sound went into your ears. You trapped that. Mommy. That's how you formed a definition. Okay? This applies to everything in your life because we only know things that we perceive through our five senses. So it applies not only to objects, but also concepts such as love for family, love for country, patriotism, personal faith, your religious beliefs, your moral beliefs, your social beliefs. All these things are because you have allowed energy to enter into you through your five senses, and you've trapped little bits in your synapses. Now, the challenge with all these definitions being in synaptic connections like this, it's always in a pair like this, the challenge is that after a while, the synaptic connection becomes stiff, okay? It starts out very limber, very, very, very limber, okay? Becomes stiff. I'm not sure if that's time that does that, or perhaps it is because you prioritize something and the brain just says, we're not ever going to delete that. Let's just make it stiff to keep it safe. All right? But the issue of the stiffness of the synapse is given a medical term called neuroplasticity. All right? Neuroplasticity, lots of it, it's nice and flexible. And then without it, it's very stiff. When you try to delete something that's in a stiff synaptic connection, you suffer emotional, mental, and possible physical distress. Now, this is most commonly called cognitive dissonance. And let me just give you a basic example. A little kid that is brought up believing in Santa Claus, well, that's important to them. That becomes a stiff synaptic connection, and it's gone perhaps 4 or 5 years. Then they find out some of them are very distressed. Some of them just blow it off. Because when you're children, you have more flexibility. Because you're always finding out that you thought something was right, but then it turned out something else was right. Oh, it isn't Santa Claus. Mom and Dad bring the gifts. I'm still getting gifts? We're cool. All right. So, anyway, when you have a worse condition, let's say you're grown and someone dies in your life, you experience the stages of grief. The stages of grief are cognitive dissonance plus despair. And I'll explain that now. Okay, the first part of cognitive dissonance, and this applies to everything that you argue about on this planet. Okay, the first thing is the synapses are stiff. They have this locked in. It's prioritized. They say we're not going to delete that. And the first part is denial. No, I'm not going to delete that. I had this when a friend of mine died. I had just talked to him the day before. Immediately denial. No, I just talked to him. No, he can't be dead. Okay? Then the next wave. No, it's true. You're resisting deleting that data that says he's alive. You have anger. No, I told you that's important to me. I'm not deleting that. Finally, in the stage of grief, you have to break it. You're presented with the evidence that they're gone. But the natural reaction of the synapse is to seek a new connection. You have just learned Mom and Dad didn't bring you the presents, not the Santa Claus. New connection. 2 plus 2 is not 5, it's 4. New connection. In the stages of grief, there is no new connection. The synapses are searching. And you feel actual physical pain. You can feel it. I have felt it right in my diaphragm, right in my heart. Pain. And we all know the emotional distress. But these are symptoms of synaptic distress. It's all because of a lack of neuroplasticity. You see, when you try to convince someone else about something you absolutely know is true, it was an epiphany in your life. You were so deceived, and now you see the light, and you talk to them, and they laugh at you, and they mock at you, and they make angry threats at you. They're suffering from a lack of neuroplasticity. You have threatened something in their brain that's in a stiff synaptic connection. Now, this is not to say that we should just, we're trying to induce states where people open up and dump everything and we get to program them. No. What I'm saying is that when you're presented with evidence that you need to change your mind about anything, which way you put the toilet paper roll on, anything. If you have stiff synapses, you resist this and you suffer. You suffer. And your suffering may take a certain flavor. It causes other people to suffer. But you suffer first. Okay? If you have flexible synapses, if you have proper neuroplasticity, you don't suffer then. And you don't suffer when you argue about religion. You instead listen to each other and find perhaps commonalities, or perhaps you just end up walking away going, oh, that person's an odd one. But at least you're not trying to kill each other for 1,000 years. Okay? You might bond with people that you didn't know you had anything with because your stiff synaptic connections were causing you distress in such a way that you didn't even give them a chance. Okay? Racism. Okay? That is a stiff synaptic connection that was programmed in those people at some time in their life, and they have a biological handicap from ridding themselves from it. Trauma. All kinds of hate. Hate is programmed or induced by trauma. Both are relieved through having proper neuroplasticity, and that is applied to you by the sacrament, cannabis. It's not just the sacrament for that reason, though, but to explore just one more area of the neuroplasticity angle. If you believe in a higher power, you have to believe in communication. And I often think, well, I'm pretty dense. It's got to be pretty hard to get something to me, if this dimension's as big as they say. Billions and billions of galaxies zero in on this speck of dust planet. Then there's 7.5 billion of them. They got to find me. And then they got to make it so I'll understand. That's a pretty difficult task. Repeat on a daily basis. That's a difficult task. But how much more difficult is it if I'm sick? How much more difficult is it if my brain is sick? If I have a biological handicap that says, no, 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 I was programmed that black people were bad. I cannot believe they're children of God. No. How much worse is that trying to create me? Okay, my creator is supposed to then give me a genius idea that's going to bless the world when I've got trash like that in my brain? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. You've got to get your brain in a state so the creator can come in. It's sort of like, I'm just making this part up, but sort of like Morgan Freeman in the God movie with Jim Carrey. He's the janitor. If things are locked up in your brain, if your brainwashing is locked up and you won't accept your creator telling you different, how are you ever going to change? How's this place going to change? If the creator isn't able to open up your mind and get to your heart and say, your hate's wrong because you have a biological handicap, it can be fixed with what you eat. It can be fixed with what you smoke. You don't need therapy. You don't need reconditioning. You need to fix your body and your brain. You need to fix the nature of your synapses. You need to fix your neuroplasticity. Then you can listen. Then maybe we can make a difference on this planet. But you all still got your neuroplasticity on parade. Oh, walking around going, my sports team. Oh, starving children in Africa. My religion. Oh, world bankers own the world. Hello. Is it time to wake up yet? This planet is the Garden of Eden. But it's overrun. We've got to weed it out. And we start by weeding out ourselves. You weed out the poison foods that are causing you to have inflammation that causes things like depression and mental illness. Your brain swells up because of allergic reactions. The outside part can't conduct electricity properly. You're depressed. The inside part overloads. You're manic. It's biological. So is your communication to your creator. Energy only exists in 4 states in this dimension. Slow stuff's solid. A little faster is liquid. Then there's gas. Then there's radiation. How do you think the creator communicates? It's got to be radiation, doesn't it? Direct communication. And that's got to be on your synapses, doesn't it? Isn't that the place where you have a definition for your reality? If you've got to communicate with anybody, it's got to be through the common definitions that they have in their synapses. If I talk to you Chinese and you don't know what I'm saying. But if I sit here and you're a New York Yankee fan and I cuss out Bucky Dent, we speak the same language. We have common definition. Okay? Creator communicates the same way. Creator has to speak to you through your experiences, through what you understand. And that has to be done through the synapses because it's radiation. All right? The Creator isn't talking in your ears. He isn't baking you a pie. Not a he, I'm sorry. But the Creator, has to be radiation communication if you believe that. And if you have wrong things in your mind, how can you not prepare the synaptic connections? How can you not make your brain ready for the Creator to easily sweep that out without you suffering distress? Once I was blind, now I see. That's all I know. Well, it's not going to be all you know if you insist on wearing sunglasses in the dark. Okay? Now the challenge that we have here is trying to convince through these methods, through our experiences. My experiences, I could spend a week telling you. But through the science, to people that refuse to try it. I tell you now, with my all-organic plan with cannabis as sacrament, I challenge anyone to do 30 days on the Guinhuan, which is a page I have on Facebook, Guinhuan, Chinese for restoration. Anyone to do it for 30 days and say the sacrament should be restricted in any access whatsoever. This plant should be as restricted as a rose bush. Only the rose bush isn't as good for us. This is part of what it says in Genesis, that every seed on this planet is given to man for his dominion and his benefit. Who is man to take away what the Creator has given us? Who is man to say that we will not connect with our Creator? Who is this legal entity that says that what comes from above can be denied below? Who is this legal entity? You will face judgment from above. This is sacrament, and the human beings will be free to take it. It's coming. The day of judgment is coming for those who try to keep human beings from evolving to what they can be. Fully cleaned out with organics, fully protected with the sacrament, fully connected to above. All of us having internet together and being a hive mind, but still being individuals on the local level. To being able to say, war? I'm not going to war. How about you, buddy? No. No. How about no? Yeah. How about no to war? All right. All right. President of Exxon wanted to get out there with President of some other country, Monsanto. All right. You guys can have war. We'll clear out the desert for you. Seriously. Seriously, people. Can you imagine what it'd be like to be on a planet where nobody had health conditions because they ate all organic and they all had open minds because they used the sacrament? Neuroplasticity, cognitive dissonance. This is the base issue facing our planet and keeping our species from evolving. It is holy for that reason, if nothing else, if this connection that I claim is false, if nothing else, to end war. That makes it holy in and of itself. Love you all.